Welcome to Old Fox Racing PlayStation. This is round 2 of the Grand Theft Championship. That's the GTE Championship. 10 races. This is race 3, and today we are at Mugello in Italy. Should be a good track, of course, for the 4 GTE that continues to be used throughout this Grand Theft Championship. We should have some pretty good racing around this Italian circuit, a combination of fast corners and slower corners. So let's see how that's going to pan out, as it were. And we have quite a full grid here. Jorge Jesus and Diogo Almeida returning to Old Fox Racing PlayStation on the front row. Second row, it's Diogo Silva making it a Portuguese 1-2-3, followed by Rob Oldham. Third row, it's Drubert 3-4 and Darren Head. Fourth row is Gonçalo Mota and Simon Allen. Fifth row, Kev Allen and Scott Davely. Sixth row is Erin 1XO. I apologize, I need to memorize the names of some of the drivers that are joining today that are not regulars. We're very keen to have them. We're very keen to have 16 drivers in this grid, so I promise that next time I will memorize everyone's name. John Scott in 12th, Wayne Robinson 13th, David Emge in 14th, and we are about to start this race, and we're going to go trackside and see how this is going to go. And they wait the green light. It's 14 fours on the, and look at that, Diogo Silva has had a good start there, but Jorge Jesus retains the lead. Now it's Diogo Almeida that goes into the lead side by side there. And Jorge Jesus, what a terrible start he's done. Oh, and someone has crashed there. Someone has crashed there already. That is lots of trouble. That was Drubert 3-4. Let's see what has happened here as they go through turn 1. Let's get a replay of the start, shall we? Perhaps with the bumper camera, which we should be able to see. Ooh, and that was, look at George from pole position, not the greatest gateway. And well, there was some 3 wide action there with Diogo Silva and also Rob Oldham. And now this is, the action is about to happen here, as that's another number 8 going on there. Oh, and whoa. That was Gonçalo Mota. And we'll get another replay on this one from Gonçalo's perspective, because that looked a little bit random there, as they were running side by side. And they just connected. Well, they were both moving, and Gonçalo keeps it on a straight line and actually manages to brake for the first corner as well. And everyone just happily continues the race as action throughout the field as they go on this first lap. And Diogo Almeida is leading this race. Let's go trackside, see if we can get some good shots of trackside action as Diogo Almeida leads from Jorge Jesus and Diogo Silva. Fourth is Darren Head. And something has happened to Rob Oldham. Something bad has happened to Rob Oldham, as he was definitely much... Ooh, and what was it? Was it in the first corner? Yes, it was. He was running side by side with the leader. Oh no, he's not running side by side. He basically had problems, possibly with his controls, as and he drops to dead last. And now he's going to overtake John Scott, who is trying to run through the grass. John Scott also with problems. So already 2 drivers really compromising their races. And we understand that he was having some problems with his controls, as Jorge Jesus is in second. Diogo Silva in third. Darren Head in fourth. What a nice battle here we have for the lead. Simon Allen is not far behind, but Darren Head is really trying to put pressure on championship leader Diogo Silva. They go through this Arrabbiata double corner. It's not the pasta that we are referring to, but it's this very, very quick double right-hander of this Mugello circuit. We are still on the first lap. Look at Jorge Jesus there running wide. We'll keep an eye on other battles through the field, but this one seems to be very hot indeed here as Darren Head is... and did Darren get hit by someone? Oh, look at Kev Allen was... Well, he was behind Simon now, and now he's ahead. So we have an Allen situation, and this was through the Arrabbiata double-hander as the Simon decides to... Whoa! That was close. Simon decides to test how hard the gravel is here in Mugello. The answer is not that hard. Let's go back to the chase cameras. It seems to be the best way to capture various battles that are happening right now. Darren Head, and look at Diogo Silva, also very close to Jorge Jesus. We'll keep an eye for other battles, but and other changes in the leaderboards. Pretty difficult to follow what's happening with 14 cars. We can see that Rob Oldham and John Scott are sitting right at the back of the grid. Look at Diogo Silva going defensive there. Diogo Silva going defensive because Darren Head is coming with everything. He's weaving back and forth into the track. Darren Head trying to draft the Portuguese driver ahead of them. Actually, Jorge Jesus is also closer to Diogo Almeida that leads the first lap here at Mugello. He's making a return to Old Fox Racing PlayStation, and what a return it is, leading the first lap, qualifying on the front row of the grid. But look at these two. They've already had contact this year at Indianapolis Road Course, and Darren Head wants to have an early... Oh, look at Jorge Jesus! Oh, Jorge Jesus is off! Jorge Jesus is off! Jorge Jesus is off! He's off the track. Let's have a replay of what happened. He basically runs wide here. Oh, misses the apex, and then there he goes. Reset button, but... loses quite a fair bit of time. There is Druber 3-4. There is also not Gonçalo Mota, that's Erin 1XO as well. So pretty much a bunch of Wi-Fi passwords names ahead of him as Darren Head continues to be under pressure. Not under pressure, putting pressure. Darren Head is off. Darren Head is off. Oh, Darren Head is off. Darren Head is off. This is massive as Jorge Jesus and Darren Head, two of the top four, dropping like flies. Look at that. Well, let's have a look at this, because I believe that Darren lost a bit of time there, a lot of momentum. Well. No, he did not lose momentum. While he first loses a little bit here. But then it's... ooh, misses the apex over here. Not the greatest line there. And he seems to be struggling with... some grip in this car, and all of a sudden he's just gonna disappear. Oh, there Diogo Silva almost losing it there in the Arrabbiata as well. Then clips the curb and bang, there he goes. And two of the top four do not last until the end of lap 2. Darren Head is losing an enormous amount of time. Look at the amount of people overtaking him. He cannot use the reset button. He's down in 11th spot. Let's go through the grid in reverse. Rob Oldham has found some controls in his Ford GTE, is running very much at the back. He's 15 seconds behind anyone else. John Scott is in the mix though, because he is in 13th, but you can see drivers ahead of him, several of them. 12th is David Emge, 11th is Darren Head, after that spin, 10th is Wayne Robinson, 9th is Gonçalo Mota, after that incident at the start, 8 to 8 is Scott Devlin. Look at the action. Oh, Jorge Jesus is off again! Jorge Jesus is off again. And how did this happen? He was behind the Erin 1XO. He's trying to go on the inside. But he's not even alongside. So that was a little bit optimistic. He ends up in the grass. And everyone then head up to the top 10. Wayne Robinson in 9th. Gonçalo Mota in 8th. Scott Devlin up to 7th. And then is Erin 1XO. Here he is in 6th place. 5th is Druber 3-4. Up into the top 4 are the Allens now, with Simon behind Kev. You saw Simon running wide at the Arrabbiata just on the previous lap, and now running wide again. 3rd is Kev Allen. 2nd is Diogo Silva, and now the leader, who of course was the leader already, is Diogo Almeida. So now we've got the Diogo 1-2. Diogo Almeida continues to lead this race in that number 33, lap 3 out of 12. Ooh, running very wide. Oh, Diogo Almeida runs wide. Oh dear! in the first 3 laps, the top 3 of the top 4 make mistakes, and here comes Kev Allen. Kev Allen, here he comes to take second place. Can he do it at number 33? Good recovery though there for Diogo Almeida. In second place still, and only lost a couple of seconds. He's still, oh, he's under a second from leader Diogo Silva. Now Diogo Silva is the leader of this race. That number 33 car is under severe pressure from Kev Allen. Kev with the traditional livery of the Ford GTE, and look at Kev Allen. On the inside there. Oh, contact between the 2 drivers, but Kev is coming on the inside now, and he's going for it. Diogo Almeida just shuts the door, and continues to be in second place. Now let's look at what happens in the start-finish line. We are only at the end of lap 3. We got 9 laps to go in this race, and so much action and a few mistakes still already affecting some of the top drivers in this league. Darren Head is up to 7, so something must have happened to other people, because it was Scott Davely that had a problem potentially, and Gonçalo Mota, Darren Head seems to have overtaken pretty much everyone ahead of him. Oh, and that is why Darren Head pretty productive lap as he going to go on the inside of Wayne Robinson. Wayne gives him space. Oh, and ends up being punted into the gravel. So we'll have a replay around that and see. Well, Wayne is running his own line. Darren is got not fully alongside. He was trying to give him room. You can see Darren trying to get away from Wayne, but racing incident is probably my verdict here, as there was another incident between Scott Davely and Gonçalo Mota. So Darren all of a sudden up into 7th place, and this is how it has happened, as Gonçalo was coming behind Scott not with the ideal exit there, and Gonçalo is going to come from behind, and a bit optimistic there by Gonçalo Mota, certainly. Darren Head goes up into 7th, and Gonçalo Mota now gives the position back, and they keep racing just like before. So nice move there by Gonçalo Mota, giving the position back. But look at that, that's Jorge Jesus, a delayed Jorge Jesus now goes around Gonçalo Mota as well. So pretty much everything happening at the same time here. Look at these 3, this is absolutely brilliant racing. And now Jorge is going to go on the inside there of Scott Davely, trying to go into 8th spot, and he does. And here comes Gonçalo Mota trying to follow him, and also manages to complete the pass as Scott Davely drops to 10th again. But this is not over. This is absolutely not over. And we'll keep an eye on this battle. In fact, we will follow it for a few more corners, trying to see what else is happening on the track. As look at this, Gonçalo Mota is coming after Jorge Jesus, and wow, a bit of a dive bomb there. It's running side by side, and contact between the 2 Portuguese drivers, and Gonçalo Mota a bit forcefully, but ends up getting the position there in turn 1. A bit of a late move. Scott Davely is a bit of an observer here, probably hoping that these 2 drivers ahead of him are going to tangle and just disappear from the scene, which could well still happen, because Jorge Jesus is at this stage probably a little bit faster. He was just a little bit surprised there in turn 1. We'll keep an eye on another battle. Gap at the front between the Diogos is 1.4 seconds on lap 4. And we'll keep an eye for other battles, as well, this one seems to be the most promising one, and Jorge Jesus is definitely trying everything to go around Gonçalo. He knows Darren Head is 4 seconds ahead, so to speak. Jorge Jesus, the man on pole position, now running night, and now he's a bit of a dive as well, but they give each other room, and a nice move there by Jorge Jesus. It was a late move, but certainly with room given there to Gonçalo Mota. Gonçalo is coming back at him, but and Gonçalo is going to go off into the gravel. Is he going to spin? No, but he loses the position to Scott Davely, David Emke, and also to John Scott. as Wayne Robinson is still... and someone is in there, that's David Emke. No, that's not David Emke, it is David Emke that is in the gravel. Did he hit someone? Was he hit, or he just lost it? Well, he was coming... Well, he overtook Gonçalo Mota and then just, well, had trouble braking there for the last corner. So Gonçalo Mota recovers the 11th spot. Wayne Robinson up into 12th. Let's look at the other battles. We have Joubert 3-4 steadily gaining ground here. He's in the top 5 position, which is great. Great performance, great consistency. And now he's actually not that far behind Simon Allen. We'll keep an eye on that battle, as also Kev Allen is not far behind, sorry, Diogo Almeida. The gap at the front increased to 2 seconds. Then we've got, Darren Head is up into 6th place. We will see how it happened. It was probably done in turn 1. As he, yes, it was done in turn 1, and that was taking advantage of air in 1XO, running wide in turn 1, and then head up into 6th. And then immediately outbraking himself in the second corner, and there he is now back into 6th place. 8th is Jorge Jesus, of course. 9th is Scott Davis. 10th is John Scott. 11th Gonçalo Mota. 12th is Wayne Robinson, and then is David Emke, and running at the back but recovering ground somehow. Look at the gap to David Emke there on your screen. It's 6.6 seconds. So we will keep an eye on that battle, as well as Diogo Silva is the leader of this race on lap 5, that number 2 car. And someone is off there. Someone is off. No, 2 cars are off. That's Diogo Almeida, and Diogo Almeida is off, and so is Kev Allen, and I suspect that these 2 off-track excursions are somewhat interconnected. Let's see what happens here. Diogo Almeida on the curb disappears from the scene, and Kev Allen on the curb. Well, it's almost like a symmetrical, well, it is unconnected. Look at how many places he has lost now. Simon Allen up into 2nd place. Simon Allen not up into 2nd place because Diogo Almeida recovers. How did he recover so quickly? As he was coming, Simon Allen was trying to go on the outside here, but immediately Diogo protects the position. Simon Allen up to 3rd, and Joubert 3-4 up into 4th. Kev Allen drops to 6th, and he is to 5th, sorry, and he is 3 seconds ahead of Darren Head. Darren Head could still be very much on the podium contention, as now, of course, the leader has a 6-second gap over Diogo Almeida, and we've got a very interesting battle here for 2nd place, with Diogo Almeida still in 2nd place, and Simon Allen not far behind. Nice battles here through the field. We'll keep an eye for other battles. Look at this battle between John Scott and Gonçalo Mota. I think they changed positions or not. Well, they did not change positions, but they are very much nose to tail in 10th and 11th. Let's go back to see other battles as Simon Allen continues to go after that 2nd place of Diogo Almeida, with Joubert 3-4 not far behind. Lap 6, we are approaching the midpoint of this race, and already so much has happened. As usual in Old Folks Racing PlayStation, we have action through the field, and now things are slightly more stable, but until when is the question, as Darren Head is coming after Kev Allen. We can see the last lap Kev's was 1:53.633, and look at Darren, a 1:47 flat. Let's see that Diogo Silva is the fastest driver. No, he's not. That is Jorge Jesus, and Jorge now up into 7th place by overtaking air in 1XO. So Jorge is also coming, and something has happened to Simon Allen. Simon Allen has had a big off, and the question is, was it trying to overtake Diogo Almeida, or was it done independently? And it seems to be that the answer was independently, as he, well, this car does not like curbs, and he is off the track. He's trying to press the reset button, but probably drivers are too close. There goes Darren Head up into the top 5, and Jorge Jesus is going up into 6th place. No, he's not. So pretty much everyone has had mistakes except the 1st and 3rd. Let's go through the field. Diogo Silva continues to lead this race, 5.7 gap over Diogo Almeida. Diogo is running very quickly but somewhat inconsistently. 3rd is Drubert 3-4, and what a performance here. A podium position. 4th is Kev Allen. 5th is Darren Head, and let's look at the times here. He is faster than Kev, but not by much. Not by much. He's got 5 laps to go. 6th is Simon Allen. 7th is Jorge Jesus. And Simon Allen has had troubles braking for turn 1. He is still in 6th place, but for how much longer is the question. As Jorge is trying to get that position back. Of course, the man who qualified on pole position, trying to get back at least into the top 6. Simon Allen going defensive there. They are into, oh, that's a tricky overtaking spot there, and Simon Allen just shut the door. It was his corner, as Jorge Jesus continues to follow, and ahead of these 2 drivers it's Darren Head there. Oh, look at this nice exit there by Jorge Jesus, now on the inside there, and oh, contact between the 2 drivers. Probably better to wait until this corner to make your move for Jorge Jesus. This is a slightly narrow circuit. It certainly feels narrow when you race it with this car, and a good battle here between these 2 drivers, as Jorge probably feels that he's got a bit more pace at this point. Lap 7 out of 12. We are past the midpoint of this race, and now here's the opportunity that maybe Jorge was waiting for, and he goes for it. He goes for it on the inside, and gets the position. Now can Simon Allen get back at him on the start-finish straight? The answer is maybe. Let's see in turn 1 what happens, and we'll keep an eye on other battles as well. Gap at the front, 6.5 seconds. Diogo Silva is running away with this race. Simon Allen thought about making a move but gets out of it, and they continue to battle. Let's look for other battles as well, as we have to note that Rob Oldham is up into 13th spot, so he is recovering from that first lap problem. David Emge in 14th. 12th is Wayne Robinson. 11th is John Scott. Top 10 is Gonçalo Mota, and there is an emerging battle here between Scott Davely and Erin 1XO. So we'll keep an eye on that battle as well, as they are battling for 8th place. Ahead of them is of course Simon Allen and Jorge Jesus, and Simon Allen has now lost a bit of ground there to Jorge. Jorge now in 6th place, more comfortable 6th place. 5th is Darren Head. 4th is Kev Allen, and Kev continues to go after that podium place. And still quite a few laps to go here, as now positions are somewhat more stable in this race. Nice circuit, of course, Mugello, always a circuit that drivers like, and definitely we've had quite a race so far, as Kev Allen continues to go after Andrew Dalby, and I had completely forgotten Andrew's PlayStation name, but now that has been fixed. Andrew Dalby, good to see him back in Old Fox Racing PlayStation. Good to see him back at the front. 3rd place. He has not put a foot wrong. Oh, he puts a foot wrong as I say it, but gets away with it, which is unusual with this car. So nicely done there by Andrew Dalby. continuing to hold on to that third position. Lap 9. Now let's look for other battles. Darren Head is 3 seconds behind these drivers. Jorge Jesus is almost 3 seconds behind Darren. Then it's Simon Allen. Then it's Sid Waters. Yes, I went to check his name as well because I don't like not knowing the driver names. And Sid is... well, what happened to Scott Davely? Because Scott was very close to Sid. And this is what happened to Scott Davely. He was overtaken by Gonçalo Mota in what was a pretty good move, I would say, here in the Arrabiata. And now we have an emerging battle for 8th place between Sid Waters, Gonçalo Mota and Scott Davely, as Scott Davely now has, as usual, John Scott for company, 9th and 10th, and Scott Davely not having a very good day here in this race, as he's normally running a little bit further up the field. Oh, and Sid Waters is off. Sid Waters is off. He's off, and lots of drivers making this mistake over here. We had several variations. Variation number 1 is clipping the inside here of the curb. That's not happened to Sid. He clipped the outside one, and the net result is the same though. He lost his rear wing and could not press the reset button, loses an enormous amount of time, loses the top 10 position. Here comes Wayne Robinson now trying to go for that 11th place. No, disaster for Sid Waters, who was having such a good race. He was up into 6th place at one point. Let's go through the field in trackside mode, which we haven't done in a while. Diogo Silva continues to lead this race. He is now 8 seconds, and with 3 laps to go, he should now be managing that gap to win this race. Second is the returning Diogo Almeida, that he does not have time for many rounds, but when he turns up, he normally challenges for a podium. And in this case, he's definitely in 2nd place. Andrew Dalby, good to see him back in Old Fox Racing PlayStation. And for some reason, every one of these 3 drivers has their headlights on. That number 8 is doing a good job in 3rd place, and 4th is Darren Head, which means we missed action there with Kev Allen. Kev Allen was in 4th place, and now he's not. So something has happened to Kev Allen, because he's lost 4th place to Darren Head, and he's lost 5th place to Jorge Jesus. And what were we doing while Kev Allen was? Well, let me guess where this was. We're coming to that point. Yes, we had seen that number 69 car. Now it was the inside curb version, as look at how many incidents we had in this lap, in this corner. Sorry, it's just been a cemetery of drivers into that gravel trap. Fortunately, no damage in Old Fox Racing PlayStation, and no, well, use of the reset button is allowed, as we were going through the field. 3rd place Andrew Dalby, 4th place is now Darren Head. So Darren, despite that off-track excursion on the 2nd lap, is now up into 4th, and he's only 3 seconds away from a podium. Could we see Darren challenging for the podium in the closing stages? 5th is the pole position man Jorge Jesus, also benefiting from various mistakes of other drivers to, well, recover some of his own mistakes earlier on. 6th is now Kev Allen after that spin. 7th is Simon Allen. Simon was up there challenging for 2nd place, but then dropped back with a spin in the same spot. Up to 8th is Gonçalo Mota, so having a nice end of the race here. He's becoming stronger and stronger. The bad news is that he's got 5 seconds to recover if he wants to challenge for 7th place. 9th is Scott Davely, very close as usual to John Scott. 11th after that spin. Oh, this is a very nice for GT now without the rear wing. And look at Wayne Robinson is coming under pressure from Rob Oldham. Rob trying to salvage some points out of this race, and Rob Oldham is in 13th spot. But look at this, this is 11th, 12th and 13th, so Rob Oldham, with a bit of imagination, could still be targeting 11th if he manages to clear Wayne Robinson and then attack Sid Waters. Sid is in 11th, he's only 3 seconds behind Scott Davely. And now on the inside goes Rob Oldham, and this is for position here. Rob Oldham is going to go. Oh, look at this. Wayne Robinson is having none of it, and they run side by side, and almost disaster there, but nice defense there by Wayne Robinson, keeping that 12th spot. Lap 10 already out of 12, so 2 laps to go at the line. Nice battles through the field as usual here in Old Fox Racing PlayStation. The Grand Theft Championship continues with this round at Mugello. After this we've got Algarve, we've got Monza, and the final round of the entire year and of course of this season will be at Fuji. Now here comes Rob Oldham, and I suspect that Wayne Robinson is going to have a hard time defending from Rob on in turn 1, but we shall see what happens. He's going defensive there on the inside, trying to get Rob to go on the outside. Here comes Rob Oldham. He decides to not go for it. We'll keep an eye on other battles through the field, although now things are a little bit more stable, and these are the closest cars we have on the track. Lap 11 already. Oh, Rob Oldham spins. Rob Oldham spins. He was trying to go around the outside, which was possible but risky, and certainly he is now 13th, and it's going to be tricky for him to recover. 14th is David Emge. Let's look for close battles as Diogo Almeida continues to hold on to that second place. That number 33 is not under pressure, not immediate pressure from Andrew Dalby, but he's not that far behind. Last lap almost identical times. Now the driver that has been trying to recover is Darren Head. Darren is only 1.5 seconds behind a podium position here. The bad news is only got 2 laps to go to try to challenge for that podium, as he also has to contend with a very quick driver, Jorge Jesus, the man who started on pole position. Let's look at the lap times. Andrew Dalby a 1:47.0, Darren Head a 1:45.7, and Jorge Jesus even better, a 1:45.1. As now these 3 drivers potentially are going to battle it out for the podium on potentially on the last lap, as Andrew Dalby will have to have a better lap here if he wants to keep that position. But well, it seems to me that actually Darren is closer to losing the... Oh, Darren had his turn around to my... But oh, and let's get the replay of this. But it seems to me like a pretty late move there by George on Darren. We'll see what happens there. Ooh, it wasn't even a move. It was just the difference in braking points, as Darren brakes. Well, George was braking very late, and both of them actually spun, and George is giving the position. Oh, look at this. That's who is that? That's Cavallan. Cavallan is gone ahead into 5th place. So Darren Head actually hasn't lost any positions. Amazingly, Darren has not lost any positions. The only driver that lost out was Jorge Jesus, who lost 5th place to Kev Allen, but Kev now can smell that 4th place. Only a few more corners to go, and Kev Allen is now... Kev Allen is... Diogo Silva, is he going to win the race? We are going to assume that he's going to win the race. Yes, he is 10 seconds ahead of everyone else, so nicely done there by Diogo Silva. Another victory. 2nd place is Diogo Almeida, but who is going to be 4th, because Andrew Dalby now is safe in 3rd. Darren Head, Kev Allen, and Jorge Jesus. So many championships and wins between these 3 drivers, and they are battling it out on the last lap. Look at Darren Head's front. He lost the front completely. Of course, only visual damage here in Old Fox Racing PlayStation. That's the way they are going to end, with Darren Head in 4th, Kev Allen in 5th, and Jorge Jesus in 6th. 7th is going to be Gonçalo Mota. Nicely done there by Gonçalo, holding on to that position, and Simon Allen has dropped to 8th. We haven't seen what happened, but possibly another mistake. John Scott managed to overtake Scott Davely, 9th and 10th, and incredibly, even after spinning, Rob Oldham is in 11th. So we will actually rewind that last lap, because he managed to overtake well, a couple of drivers, Wayne Robinson, and also incredibly Sid Waters as well. So let's just have a quick look to see if we don't have to rewind too much, but understand that it's just a good last lap battle here. And where is Wayne? Well, Wayne has lost quite a lot of time, so possibly a mistake by Wayne enabled Rob Oldham to go up into 12th place. Let's now fast forward a little bit, but look at this, Rob really coming strongly there on the last lap, and he's going to have a go at Sid and try to get that 11th spot. It wasn't here. As you can see, this circuit is narrow for this car. It's a bit tricky to have a clean move, as the driver in front can make that for GTE very wide indeed. Now I believe that Rob is going to have a go here at the exit of the second Arrabbiata, as look at this, it was a bit Sid Waters not braking himself. Only a few more corners to go, and there is the move, and nicely done there by Rob Oldham, who is going to finish in 11th spot. 12th is going to be Sid Waters. 13th is going to be Wayne Robinson, and Wayne lost quite a lot of time because he's only 4 seconds ahead of David Emige. David at one point was 10 seconds behind Wayne, so something big must have happened, possibly a mistake in the usual corners where things go wrong with this car. We had a pretty decent race, as Diogo Silva, Diogo Almeida and Andrew Dalby are your top 3 drivers in this race 1 of round 2, and we shall say goodbye now. All the action of Volkswagen PlayStation always in the Labareda channel, or alternatively you can see race 2 in the Darren's channel, Heads the Racing, which is a pretty good channel to follow this league as well. Until then, it's bye bye.